Max, your topic touched on. It's an example of the flesh, or the opposite of the rules of the spirit. So we're supposed to be content in the carnal realm and not content. Like we're supposed to lay up treasure in the spiritual realm, but not in the carnal realm. And there have been just a few times I've heard people try to apply the rule of one realm to the other realm, and it doesn't work. And so oftentimes Jesus or a man of God will give an instruction based on the assumption that, okay, I'm talking about stuff here. Don't apply. They don't say this, but we ought not apply those rules to the spiritual realm. I've heard people resist spiritual growth, saying that they didn't want to be too great in the kingdom of heaven. They wanted to be humble and not be laying up riches in the spiritual realm, and not resist sin enough because they wanted to remain humble, and just a misapplication of these rules. And that's a really good one, that we're supposed to be content in this realm and not content in the other realm. I just have a simple topic. It's about, I guess you could say it's about, well, I'm going to talk a little bit about secrets, and then I'm going to touch on a few elements of what a secret is and different types of secrets, and then there's a certain type of secret that I really want to talk about. But a secret is private information. It's information that is intentionally withheld. Some people have it, and effort is put forth to make sure that other people don't have it. Not all secrets are bad. Secrets can be bad, but they're not all bad. Sometimes a type of secret is a surprise. Oftentimes, maybe you can relate to this. Some older people will try to have a surprise for a younger person, and there's just this kind of special element to not suspecting something and thinking something was a certain way, and then come to find out it was a different way. I took my family to the zoo Friday we went to the zoo, and I didn't tell them they were going. We just got in the car. Some of them, I told a few of them, but some of them had no idea till we got there that's what we were doing, and I just thought that was fun. I don't think that was that's a good kind of secret. Now, kind of one of the things that I want to point out, well, I'll come back to that. Well, no, here, I guess it's here next on the list. Everybody can relate to how that it's a bad thing to spoil a secret. If one of the children that I had told about it and said, okay, I'm not telling the littles, but we're gonna go to the zoo. But I want them to be surprised. If one of them went and told them secretly, Papa's actually taking us to the zoo, that would be bad. And I'm reluctant to use real strong words about that thing that can happen, but it's really bad. It can be hurtful. I'm not sure. It's kind of selfish. I think everybody can understand that. If you have a secret and then somebody spoils it, like, it's bad. And the point is that there's one of the points that I want to make is there's this power. There's power in a secret. A secret is a powerful thing, but it's a fragile thing. A secret can just disappear very easily, but if it's maintained, it can be a very powerful thing. It's a special thing to be in on the secret. If somebody comes and they tells you, like, okay, not everybody's getting this information, but I want you to have it. That it can feel special. It can feel good. Often secret information is kept from immature, people who can't handle it because maybe it's information that's too heavy or would be hurtful to them. Or maybe somehow they're just not deemed worthy. I just don't, like maybe I just feel very comfortable sharing things with Leroy that I don't necessarily want to share with other people. So that Leroy could feel special that I would share something with him. There are things that we as adults know about that we intentionally keep from our children until they're ready for it. These are heavy things that they have to grow in maturity before they can handle. Anyway, not all secrets are bad. Secrets are powerful. It's special to be in on a secret, and it can be hurtful if a secret is spoiled. A couple verses here about secrets. I'll just touch on a few things. The gospel is not a secret. It's public information and it's manifest. Matthew 24:26 says, "Wherefore, if they shall say to you, Behold, he's in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he's in the secret chambers, believe them not." Oh, well, maybe that was all that I had. Point being, Jesus says, if people are telling you, okay, there's secret information about the gospel and about God, it's not true. Jesus said, I spoke openly. What's the information God wants people to know is open. It's just out there. And if somebody says they've got secret information about a special deal with God, like it's not so. Jesus answered him. John 18:20. Jesus answered him, "I spake openly to the world. I ever taught in the synagogue and in the temple whither the Jews always resort, and in secret have I said nothing." God has had a secret, a mystery. You could kind of say that he's kept from the beginning. And often it's referred to many people that knew God and loved God and were very faithful to God. Even they were withheld from knowing this thing. Like it's almost like a child, like mankind. Often the history of mankind is like that of a child, and somehow, even though we just got born, but we happen to be in this later stage of history, we have things revealed to us that mankind as a whole got withheld and was treated like a child and was given laws like a child, and now mankind is kind of being treated more like an adult. And we happen to be in on this, not because we're more godly or something like that. It's part of God's plan. We get to be part of this new covenant. Matthew 13:35 says that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet, saying, "I will open my mouth in parables, I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundation of the world." It's like God had a secret and he's letting us in on it. This special information about God's will. Romans 16:25 says, "To him that is of power to establish you according to my gospel and the preaching of Jesus Christ, according to the revelation of the mystery which was kept secret since the world began." So that special thing when you share a secret with somebody, that's what God's doing with us. Like he's trying to initiate an intimate, personal relationship with us. It's special. When people do bad things, there can be a temptation. There is a temptation to keep those things a secret. We're ashamed of them. We want to create maybe a perception of ourselves, maybe, or just of a situation that isn't so. And so we'll keep things a secret. The scriptures teach that that one day all of those secrets will become manifest. Romans 12:16 says, "In the day when God shall judge the secrets of men by Jesus Christ according to my gospel." Luke 18:17, "For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad." John 3:20, "For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in God." Not sure what I want to say about that. So I want to maybe try to apply some of those same principles. If someone commits sin and keeps that a secret, it's a powerful thing. It's a big thing. It's not a small thing. They're creating a special relationship. You could either say with that sin, you maybe could say with the devil. Like I said earlier, if I share something special with Leroy that I'm not sharing with other people, I'm creating a special relationship with him because he's in on it. If we commit sin, the devil's in on it, and if we're keeping that from other people, we're creating and feeding, fostering this special relationship with the devil. If we keep it from God's people, there's sort of a sense in which we're keeping it from God. Obviously, we can't keep anything from God. He sees, and one day everything will be revealed. So the thing I specifically want to talk about Psalm 91:1 says, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." So there's the psalmist here, the man of God, likens a secret to a place, a secret place. It's something between us and God. And it keeps us abiding in his shadow. Now that's very figurative, poetic language there, but my shadow doesn't get too far from me. Now we could talk about the laws of physics. If a light was over there, my shadow could go on infinitely, I guess. But typically my shadow is right here by me. I tend to think of the imagery that Jesus puts forth when he talks about a hen gathering her chicks. Underneath her, they dwell there in the shadow there. It's a safe place. It's a protected place. We don't want to be, if God is a hen, I want to be there under his wings. I want to be right there. When we went to the zoo, we saw a peacock, but a female one, peahen, and it started raining on us. It dumped on us when we were there, actually. At different times, but we saw a peahen and she was not running from us, and we wondered if she had, and here finally when we got close enough, we weren't trying to disturb her, but the path just kind of took us by her, and she finally broke, and there's two little pea chicks underneath her wings. They were pretty big, but it was a secret. We couldn't tell that they were there. But here they had this secret relationship with them. Their mama knew they were there. She knew they were there, but it was none of our business. It was being kept from us, and it was a very special relationship that they were having with their mama. I want to read here in Matthew chapter 6. This is Jesus talking. He says, Take heed that you do not your alms before men to be seen of them. Otherwise you have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. Therefore when thou doest thine alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But when thou doest alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. Let thine alms be in secret, and thy Father, which seeth in secret, himself shall reward thee openly. And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut the door, pray to thy Father, which is in secret, and thy Father, which seeth in secret, shall reward thee openly. Then he talks about prayer. I'll just keep going. But when you pray, use not vain repetition, as the heathen do, for they think they shall be heard for their much speaking. Be not therefore like unto them, for your Father knoweth what things ye have need of, before ye ask him. Moreover, I skipped a part there, the Lord's Prayer. Verse 16, moreover, when ye fast, be not as the hypocrites, of a sad countenance. They disfigure their faces, that they may appear unto men to fast. Verily, I say unto you, they have their reward. But thou, when thou fastest, anoint thine head, wash thy face, that thou appear not unto men to fast, but unto thy Father which is in secret. And thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. I'll stop there. I just kind of want to point out there's two different things that can happen when we he gives some really extreme, obvious examples, but hopefully we can tame this down to things maybe a little more relevant to us. Obviously, we're not in these situations. None of us. I would think all of us would be well beyond praying in the streets and sounding trumpets when we give alms. And yet it comes down to, like, there's still something in there that would maybe want to spoil these secrets in other ways. And I just wanted to put some thoughts in your head, and then just give an encouragement to all of us to want to nurture, to recognize there's this thing that's happening. There's a secret relationship that each one of us has with God, and I want to encourage us to nurture that, to recognize that it's there, to realize it's a powerful thing. It's a big thing. It's a big deal. It's a very special thing that anybody can have, and it can be so easily spoiled, so easily damaged. And similarly, so easily nurtured and maintained. If we just this is the core of what our faith is. Like, do we have faith that He sees? Do we really believe that? Do we have faith that He's good and that He cares? Is it sufficient to us that He sees? And just to kind of put that into perspective with some of those other things that I said earlier, about spoiling the surprise, or if we can use these examples that Jesus gave, but ultimately it's in anything we could do that would be glorious, having true glory, having truly spiritual, truly pleasing unto God, truly worthy of praise. And if we just keep that from anybody, and knowing that God sees it, like it's just this acknowledgement of the reality of Him that he sees, and he's with us, and he knows, and to intentionally, and I think this is what Jesus is talking about, intentionally not spoiling that. Intentionally, like, because it spoils when I share it with other people. It's like it'd be like if Leroy and I, there was something that we knew or that we were sharing. As soon as I start sharing with everybody, it's not special anymore. It's not exactly the same as spoiling a surprise. It's similar, but it would spoil that specialness that he might feel that I'd be willing to share something with him. So I probably said enough. I think it was just a simple thing. I just wanted us to kind of recognize that, and to recognize that it's substantial. It is a big thing to spoil your secrets that you have with God. It's not a light thing. It's something, as Jesus teaches us. It's like laying up treasures in heaven. Often this phrase heaven. Growing up in America, I thought heaven was a place up in the clouds where the angels are, and they play harps and stuff. And I tend to think more these days heaven just refers to like the spirit realm, the heavenly, that which is not carnal, the invisible, the heavenly places, and that I think oftentimes Jesus is trying to teach us, like, though they may not seem as real as the stuff around us, it is more real, and it's more important. And this is his teachings were trying to get us to realize this, trying to get us to make our investments in that realm and not in this one. And so that's just one element of it. These secrets that we like to really, if we can recognize the real value of that and how that nourishes or builds up our relationship with God, to not have to, for other people not to know. And I have special relationships with my brothers, but there's something more special that I have with God that is that is established by not sharing things with other people, whether it be some hardship I endured, maybe a good choice that I made, a selfless thing that I did. God saw, he knows, and if I there's this thing that makes us want to tell people, and if we can learn to recognize that and resist that, it will build up our relationship with God. That's all I had. How do you say it? I welcome comments, corrections. Yep. Well, my opinion would be that it's not the same sharing things with your wife as it is with sharing things with dear brothers. Although there might be things that maybe there'd be no need to even share with your wife. I mean, I think it's safe to say our relationship with God should be more special than even our most special relationship that we would have with our wives.
I just wanted to make that.
Thank you, Brother Buddy. And the secrets. Does anybody know what Proverbs? I can't think of the chapter and verse, but it's translated different. It says the secret of the Lord is for those who fear Him. And you know what a quote, better translation is for that word, and I would say a better one. Does anyone know what that is? For the secret of the Lord, for the word secret. It says, the secret of the Lord is for those who fear him. But there's a translation in some of them, maybe the ESV, it says the blank of the Lord is for those who fear him, rather than secret.
Treasure.
Close. The friendship of the Lord, the friendship of the Lord. And so that's like we said, buddy, that's an intimate relationship, the friendship of the Lord. Most secrets, I assume, are temporary, right? Most, they're going to come to light. I confess a sin that I've had with a secret. My wife says, don't tell him secrets. She specifically will say, and I'm in confidence over certain people over things. They'll never know. I mean, I have friends here and there, but anyway, I say that I'm holding on to confidence to things. But we had a friend in Bolivia, and his son was caught in a crime, and he went to jail, and so we heard, and now Sarah told me, or whoever, Yolanda, now so-and-so he's in jail for the thing he did, and he was a young teenage boy. But don't tell, Manny, Mo, and Jack. Don't tell, Tom, Dick, and Harry. Now don't tell these people, like the grandparents, they don't know, and now don't do this. And so I said, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of this. We'll pray for his son in prison, but I don't want to, because I'll say it to the wrong thing. I could tell Brother Walter, well, so-and-so's in there, and then it gets all over the world. Not that Walter would reveal it, but when you know, half the people know it, and half the people you don't. And so I confess that I will say, let's pray for it. Okay, so he's in prison, we'll pray for him. I mean, what's so secret about that? I mean, well, we don't want this to know or this to know, and I don't know. So, anyway, you brothers can help me. I think there shouldn't be anything of secrets. Although it is biblical, God did have secrets, and so that would overturn my thing. But I don't want to be called in on secrets. The Lord be magnified.
Take some wisdom, Robert, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Patience? Okay. Yeah, I guess I see God doing that with men, and I see myself doing it with my children. Hard to do it with my wife. I've been called into secrets already where I asked for permission could I at least share it with my wife, and usually people are generous and they give room for that, and I appreciate that, but I guess it's a little bit how it is with contentment. There's a place for it, and then there's a place not for it. And somehow, surely someone in here is wise enough to punch it all out, surely. Like here on the contentment thing, we too have lots of brothers have left it at a very weighty place. It's something to figure out, and I guess that's just where I'm at too. Or maybe you did punch it all out, Max. I don't know. Like all these things that are something that we just strive for it, right? And we figure it out as we go. I think God will give us the wisdom to know right from wrong if we only humble ourselves and surrender to Him. There's definite, promises of if we seek, we will find Him. There's definite promises. If we knock, the door will be open. And we can cling to these things. Maybe we can't just really confidently know exactly what to keep secret and what not. Sometimes to know what kind of contentment to have and what not to have. But if we seek the Lord, He is not. His arm is not so short that He cannot help us. And if we, I don't know. It just seems like it's a heavy thing, and I just see my weaknesses in this, and I see people gradually moving away from the right understanding of contentment, and soon it's way off, surprisingly way off. And maybe the children of Israel are the best example of how in the wilderness, they felt terrible and they sinned terribly, even though they originally had started out on a good path. And I just see the weight of it. I guess that's probably how I want to close off with it. I see the weight of having to strive for this thing that's so needful. So God bless you all.
I had meant to share a little part about this. There's a secret world, secret realm that children operate in. It happens a lot in the world. The information is withheld from the adults, the parents, and maybe it's just goes without saying. These are not. Children shouldn't be keeping secrets from their parents. I'm not talking about praying and tithing and such. I'm just talking about the idea that the type of relationship that is created by not keeping secrets from somebody that's the relationship that children should have with their parents. There shouldn't be something a child is withholding from their parents. And then I wanted to say, this thing about to contentment. This thing about the opposites. I think it was said. Somebody with a little, physically speaking, can be content. And whereas somebody that has a lot can be discontent and wanting more, and whereas so this person that's exercising themselves in contentment with little is exercising themselves in humility. And then I thought, conversely, you can have people in the spiritual realm. You can have somebody that's very immature spiritually, but very discontent to be there. Really struggling, really striving to grow and to not continue being in that place. And then you can have, and I feel like this is something I recognize. I can see it in myself in the past when I've been in this place. I feel like I can see it sometimes in others. But where somebody grows a great deal spiritually, they learn a lot of lessons, and then they become they become content. They grow a lot and they have a lot of strengths, spiritual strengths, and then they become content. And that is connected to pride. And I feel like I can recognize, having been there, maybe I can't say that I'm not there now. I could be blinded to it, but it was more plain to me at times in past where I recognized this great growth in my life, and I grew in knowledge and understanding and just felt pretty on top of things, and did succumb to this subtle kind of pride. And I feel like I can see that in other people there. There's people I know that I think have lots of supernatural strengths, grown in lots of supernatural ways, and yet they've stopped growing. They feel like they're there and they've arrived, and it's very unbecoming. It's unattractive, and it's just something we want to be careful of, to remain. So somehow, as we grow, remaining humble is connected to remaining discontent, spiritually speaking.
I just have a quick comment. I really appreciated that little lesson, buddy. That was really good. I used to, I guess when I was in junior high school especially, I used to do a lot of bragging, and one time in particular, I think I was bragging about arm wrestling, and my aunt challenged me and soundly beat me, and that was really good for me. And anyway, there's this thing that happens. It's a phenomenon, and it happens with children, but it also happens with adults. And buddy, what you just said made me think of this, and it's when you were talking about things being unbecoming. There's a need of men and women too, I think, but I especially see it in men to be validated. And so a lot of times, looking for validation from their peers, men and children will brag. And the phenomenon is that, like, they're looking for validation, but it only serves to repel people. Like, nobody appreciates a braggart. That's like a very unbecoming thing, and no one is like wanting to rejoice in them in their accomplishments and listing off how amazing they are. It's just interesting. So it's funny that, like, in the flesh, people want that, but it drives them to behavior that makes people want to get away from them. I just think it's interesting. God bless you. Thanks for the little message.